Hi, we're here with Esports Business Summit with our new Hall of Fame inductee, Ed Boon, co-creator of Mortal Kombat and Injustice. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
So the first thing I wanted to ask you about is what you find exciting about the industry right now, since you've been in it for years and successful and constantly reinventing the game.
I guess it's growth. You know, it's if you would have asked me 10 years ago, you know, is the industry going to get as big as it is now, I never would have guessed it. And so, you know, its influence on other forms of entertainment, and it's become its own, you know, sport as it is, is just amazing. So the growth of the industry has been the thing that's surprised me the most.
So when it comes to Mortal Kombat, how have you kept it relevant for so many years?
Change has barely been the main thing. You know, we just finished doing Mortal Kombat 11, and with every game we really want to kind of ask ourselves, what's different about this game that wasn't in any of the previous Mortal Kombat games? When you do so many sequels, I think we have a duty to introduce something brand new, so the player who's been kind of on this journey with us knows that every new Mortal Kombat game is going to offer something that they haven't experienced before.
As you heard him say for himself, he's always basically looking to change, to innovate. That's how he kept Mortal Kombat alive for so long. A lot of other games have not been able to do that. In this documentary, I'm going to be showing you what Ed Boon's master plan is. Something revolutionary is getting ready to happen for the fighting game community, especially using next gen tech. We got a lot to unpack, a lot to get into, and this video is basically going to be structured a way so you can keep up with everything and not be confused. So we're going to start off first with some organization. First, I'm going to tell you, the new viewers, the younger ones, who Ed Boon is, and maybe a few of the older ones, and what he does at NRS, his official job title, and what he has control over and what he don't have control over. And then after we do that, I'm going to tell you who has control over Ed Boon and how they own the Mortal Kombat property, because I see a lot of you are confused as to who own it. We're going to establish all of that, and then we're going to move directly into his master genius evil plan as to what's coming for the next generation of fighting games. Let's get into it.
My name is Ed Boon. I am the creative director at Netherrealm Studios. Well, my title is creative director, and I'm basically overseeing the development of the entire game. You know, the game has a number of different disciplines. There is, you know, graphics, obviously, characters, backgrounds, there's animation, there's the design of the game, the special moves, the hidden features, the UI. So all of that is, there's specialists who work on all of those things, and I kind of oversee the all of that to make sure that the game is consistent and stays clear to the vision that we had for it. So I'm like the overseer.
Okay, so now that we established that Ed Boon runs everything within Netherrealm Studios, and he has the final decision on what's in the game when it comes to Netherrealm Studios, let's go ahead and establish credibility and some clarity as to who Ed Boon has to answer to, and which it can be a good thing at times, and then it could be a bad thing. We need to go ahead and put that to rest before we can move forward, because I want you to watch this documentary with a open and clear mind as to what's coming for the next generation of Mortal Kombat. And the best way to do that is to give you a short history lesson within the next 1 to 2 minutes as to how Ed Boon and NRS ended up with Warner Brothers as their parent company, is what I'm saying. So I'm going to let YouTuber Jeremy Parrish go ahead and take over for a second. Shout out to them. Check out their channel. Link will be in the description. They are going to explain the history of Warner Brothers. I'll be right back with you.
It's July 2nd, and on this day in video game history, Warner acquired Midway Games in 2009, bringing things full circle. With two of the most successful mega hits of the year under their belt, Mortal Kombat X and Batman Arkham Knight, Warner Bros. Is the biggest publisher of 2015 to date. Some people seem surprised to see them ranking so high, but it's not like Warner is some newcomer to video games. In fact, they've been here nearly from the start. Back in the late 70s, WB parent corporation Warner Communications was the first major media empire to make a serious bid for the video game market. They acquired Atari, whose 2600 console basically owned the American living room. And for a couple of years, Atari earned massive profits for Warner. But then, the US console market collapsed, and Warner filed the biggest annual loss at that point in American history due to the devastation of Atari's business. Warner responded by dumping all of Atari except its one profitable division, the arcade division, which it called Atari Games. Atari Games fared far better than its spun-off sibling Atari Corporation, which eventually fizzled away after launching the unsuccessful Jaguar console. Meanwhile, Atari Games kept making great arcade classics like Rampart and Road Blasters, before being renamed Time Warner Interactive and then being sold to WMS, the company that owned fellow Golden Age arcade giants Williams and Bally Midway. When Hasbro bought and relaunched the Atari Corporation brand, WMS renamed Atari Games to Midway Games West, turning Atari into a de facto part of one of its oldest rivals. Midway ultimately collapsed in 2009, and its assets ended up with Warner, hence WB publishing former Midway property Mortal Kombat. But for Midway West, formerly Atari Games, it was almost a sort of homecoming, even if it was in name only. For US Gamer, I'm Jeremy Parrick.
Thanks, Jeremy. Now that we have established who does what, who owns who, who's in charge, and who answers to who, we can let that part go and move on to the next part of this documentary. Now, here on the next part of this documentary, it is now finally time to focus on the evil master plan of Ed Boon. The guy is a genius. He's always been well ahead of his time, but guess what? The times is finally catching up with Ed Boon, because this next gen Mortal Kombat we're about to get is going to be something that no one has never seen the likes of. It's going to be one of the best selling Mortal Kombat games of all time, and it will finally claim its throne as the Grand Theft Auto of Mortal Kombat, which has always been, but it never claimed it, but it will now. They were just way too far ahead of their time when they came out with Deception and Armageddon, just way too far ahead of their time. Ed Boon knows what the people want, and he's finally about to give it to us, and I'm super excited for that. If you don't believe me that Ed Boon pays attention to the fans, well, check out this clip right here then.
Well, the fact that we've been doing Mortal Kombat games for 20 years, we've gotten to know what players like about Mortal Kombat and what features. So we would never, take out Scorpion or take out Raiden or something like that, and so we know that players are looking for, fun gameplay elements, but also big wow moments, the X-ray moments, the fatalities. They want to see the really kind of crazy stuff, and they want a deep story. I think Mortal Kombat is the fighting game that's known for having a really deep story, and each time we kind of present it in a bigger, more epic way.
Now, you heard it for yourself. He's always looking to enhance things. They want deeper stories. They want better fatalities, better graphics, everything. And that is what Ed Boon is gearing up to do. I want you guys to understand how important this massive change is. They have been using the Unreal Engine since 2008. The Unreal Engine 3, they've been using that since 2008. They done did some things with the Unreal Engine that were close to next impossible. Look at the graphics from Mortal Kombat 11. If you watch that in 4K, hell, if you look on your screen, you'll be able to see just such a great job that they did with any game that they put their hands on. But I gotta stick to the facts, and I gotta provide you with the factual information so you can stay on track for this documentary. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and break this completely down. Again, all credit is issued to the YouTuber in the description of the video. Let's get into it. We're gonna start right here. What the hell is with NRS still using outdated graphics? That is the number one question a lot of people have and had on their mind. In 2008, they did Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. They did Mortal Kombat 2011 in 2011. They did Mortal Kombat, the collection in 2011, Injustice in 2013, and then they also did Mortal Kombat X in 2015, and they turned around after that and did Injustice 2 in 2017, and then right after that they did Mortal Kombat 11 in 2019. Now 11 years later and they're still using the Unreal Engine 3. Yeah, that is definitely getting ready to change. So I wanted to bring that to your attention because there is a lot of things that we're going to be going over and you need to pay attention to that I don't want you to miss out on. This is a reboot. This is a rebirth of Mortal Kombat. Look here on your screen. Imagine how these graphics will look with a new engine and software, DirectX 11. That's just off Microsoft alone. Imagine what they would do with the Unreal Engine like they did with Neo from The Matrix, which we will be getting into. Look at that real-time ray tracing. Look at that. It just looks fantastic. That is what Cassie could look like if they upgraded their graphics, but that's not it. By the time they upgrade to the Unreal Engine 4, it's gonna look incredible. It said, I will no longer support ugly UE3 games from NRS. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this graphic of Cassie looks really good, but we both know what we seen at the Video Game Awards, which we will get into that whole debacle later. Things could be a lot worse. However, we moving to the next generation of gaming. With that being said, let's continue this documentary in peace because we got more to unpack it, shall we?
Yeah, well, originally Mortal Kombat, the only other fighting game that was really big outside was Street Fighter at the time. And Street Fighter is a little bit more like animated. It's a little bit more cartoonish, fantasy as opposed to like real stuff. And so we wanted to do something that used real videotapes of real live actors, a realism. We wanted to look really kind of edgy, and that's why we added the blood and all the kind of really intense stuff. And so Mortal Kombat, that became what was synonymous, what people associated with Mortal Kombat was that kind of edgy look. And that's the approach that we took with everything as far as the game's concerned. Everything's over the top, everything's kind of a little bit more louder than other games that are like in the fighting category. And so I really think that Mortal Kombat is just, I don't know if that's an American thing as opposed to it's just what Mortal Kombat is.
So now that we establish with you guys that Ed Boon is looking to go the complete direct opposite direction of Street Fighter and just fighting games in general or games in general, now you have a better perspective of what's to come. Now you see this on your screen. This is The Matrix. This was announced at the Video Game Awards, and this is running on the Unreal Engine 5. We all seen how Mortal Kombat 11 looked, right? They were able to do that with Mortal Kombat 11 on the Unreal Engine 3. So it really blows my mind what they're going to be able to do with Unreal Engine 4 by them creating their own custom version of the Unreal Engine 4. Guys, this is really happening. This has been 30 years in the making that we're truly about to enjoy the next gen experience of what we got coming for video games. And I'm just in shock and awe right now because what a time to be alive. What a time to be a gamer. Now pay attention to this right here on your screen. Look at this. This is not a cinematic scene. This is actual gameplay right here. And this is what we can expect from Mortal Kombat 12. And this is how we know that the story mode is going to be so much better. It's going to feel like an action-packed movie. Don't get me wrong. MK11 story mode was extremely good. It was one of the best story modes in the Mortal Kombat history, if you ask me, as far as production-wise, things of that nature. They've really taken this whole going serious thing really good. Like, they're getting away from the skimpy clothing, the big bodies, the unrealistic things. They're getting away from all of that, and they're starting to make Mortal Kombat more of something that's household. And I think if Street Fighter did the same thing, they would probably have a different response. But this is not a Street Fighter video. I'll get into Street Fighter when I do a Street Fighter video. Just look at how detailed this is. Like, I want you to open up your mind and really think how many things are moving all at the same time. You got cars, you got the buildings in the background, you got ray tracing, you got all of this stuff going on, and you're able to be a part of all of this while it still looks good, while running at tons of frames per second in order for this to happen. This is what Ed Boon is looking to bring to the Mortal Kombat franchise. He's looking to bring the action-packed stories, the better gameplay, the better blood, the gore, the graphics. I'm talking about they're finally going to be able to do something completely different with fatalities that was not possible before. Now, Ed Boon did mention that with Mortal Kombat 11, there was a lot of things they wanted to do that they did not get a chance to do just because it wasn't technologically possible. It was not. So we ended up getting the variations, and the reason we were not able to change clothes was due to some coding issues. It just would have been a nightmare. It would have been a headache, but they managed to make it to where you can switch out the gear pieces and not affect no other part of the game. Yeah, if we were going to switch clothes and switch up items, that was going to cause an issue. But that is something we're going to see in Mortal Kombat 12. Don't worry, I'm going to be putting a clip on your screen later in the documentary of Ed Boon actually talking about Mortal Kombat 12. He's going to say the words Mortal Kombat 12. So you want to pay attention. That's something that you don't want to miss out on. We both know Ed Boon loves to put things out there. You just have to be smart enough to catch it or to either find it. Now that I kind of just gave you a little backstory and my little background on that, let me go ahead and actually get back to the facts in the documentary, meaning that I'm getting ready to put something else here on your screen to show you that they are going into the next gen of Mortal Kombat. Now, a lot of you are probably already familiar with what they're doing as far as hiring people, but if you're new to the Mortal Kombat franchise or you're newly returning to the Mortal Kombat franchise and this is your first video, well, good for you, because I'm getting ready to break it down. Let me go ahead and pop this on your screen. So shout out to Judge Arts. He said NRS is working on improving their core technology for the Mortal Kombat franchise based on these job ads, which would explain why they're not ready to show us anything yet. I guess we would be patient since it'll look good enough to be worth the wait. Hashtag Mortal Kombat 12. He went into this. So let me click this right here. Give it a second to load and I'll try to get through it. NRS is looking for a video game software engineer to work on core technology for the Mortal Kombat franchise. As a software engineer in core tech group, you will help us further extend and innovate key technology for the Unreal based engine. You will utilize and extend your experience with a wide variety of engine, including memory management, animation, build tools, and more. The software engineer has a passion for consistently exploring and mastering new areas of a video game engine, and tasks will range from graphics and animations and development and things of that nature. Now, the daily working with gameplay programming and designers and implement technical solutions to help them meet project design, modify and extend core engine systems with a focus on future technology, working with artists and designers to implement editor functionality and improve our overall workflow for the team, research and evaluate engine code to help identify optimal bottlenecks, the essentials. You just need basically, bachelor's in science, all of that type of stuff. With that being said, it's just them looking for better people to help with the game, and you got to be able to have the ability to architect, program, and optimize C++ in existing or new systems with a focus on one or more game related specialties. And as you can see, Unreal Engine experience is a plus, a passion for video games, a strong desire to build industry leading technology. Let me click on this next page over here. Now, this is basically Netherrealm, a division of WB Games, seeks a senior advanced software engineer graphic to work closely with the core tech rendering team. Basically what we just went over, but I'll leave the whole thing up here on the screen. If this is something you want to continue to read, you can do so while I continue the rest of the video. Now, so while you're reading that, I just want you to know that what we're getting ready to get, as I've already stated, is something that has never been done before, something that's never been seen before. And the fact that they have finally finished with Liu Kang's story, and they finally finished telling the same story that they've been telling for 30 years, I want you to realize this, is that basically Mortal Kombat 11 was Netherrealm versus Midway. The original Liu Kang and Kung Lao was Midway, and the older versions were Netherrealm. So they basically were doing a story mode about themselves against themselves, and they were basically retconning everything that they possibly screwed up, and that's the whole point of them resetting time. Now, a lot of people don't agree with them resetting time, so they had to find a balance of acknowledging everyone. That's why Chronica came in and claimed she was the reason for everything that ever happened. Meaning, we know it happened, Liu Kang know it happened, the characters know it happened, but the new timeline won't know it happened except our heroes. So that's a way to balance everything, where it's like, okay, it happened, we acknowledge it, we're not sweeping it under the rug, but that timeline is over, we're in a brand new timeline. This is what's going to allow us to be able to get brand new features within the game and things we have not seen before. Now let me take this off your screen real quick, and I want you to pay attention. Look how good this game get. Imagine playing a conquest mode that look just like this, or something similar, to where you can explore Earthrealm, but you also can get in some crazy fights. There are a ton of things that can be done with the Unreal Engine 4 as well as the 5, and I think Mortal Kombat has a lot of unexplored territories, from realms to characters to lore. We only know about 2 to 3% about Mortal Kombat, because that's all they ever made public, was about 2 to 3% on a main scale level. So that's something I wanted to point out to you guys. Also, not to mention, just to throw it in there, that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to look amazing if it look anything like this. I'm just being honest with you, even though that's unrelated. But listen, keep your mind open, because we're only just getting started. We only getting started with this. Look at this damage, the reaction to damages. Imagine what the clothing damage and bodily damage is going to be in Mortal Kombat by the time we do get Mortal Kombat Next Gen. That's going to look completely amazing. Just being able to see these things in real time and not have to worry about watching cinematics to get the look, but not actually being able to get that in gameplay, especially with the new systems being able to handle a lot of memory. So let's go ahead and move on with the documentary and get to our next point.
I think the main thing we're proud of with this game is how much new content is in the game. We didn't take, the last game that we did was very successful, and we didn't want to just take that and put pretty graphics on it and that's it. Good looking graphics is kind of like the entry point. It's like where you start.
I agree. It is where you start. And now that we're doing Mortal Kombat Next Gen, they can focus on bringing us better stuff back, such as Create a Fighter and the entire creation suite, which we will be touching on a little bit going forward before we move to the next topic. Imagine using those points that you have from Combat League to buy new items for your character's face, to buy new items for everything across the board, to change your body type and other things of that nature. How awesome would that be for them to introduce that? I can't tell you exactly what, but I can tell you that there are some things coming for Mortal Kombat 12 that's going to be a game changer. Now that they have the technology, they have shorter time restraints to get things done, meaning that this new technology is going to give them less issues and they can get it done within a timely manner, and they do not have to worry about the issue of space and how they're going to get these things to operate. Now I'm gonna pass it back over to Ed, and we're gonna touch on some more stuff.
Every single game that we do, there's at some point while we're making it, we realize, if you have any more big ideas, there's no time to do it. So we just, we write it down and then save it for later, and then bring it up maybe in a future game. And Mortal Kombat X is it's no different. There have been a lot of ideas that we got in there from Mortal Kombat 9 that we didn't have a chance to do, but at the same time, I'm sure at the end of this project there'll be stuff that we think of that we won't have time for as well.
What did they have for the past year due to everything going on in the world? They have had nothing but time to restructure their entire plan, their approach to work on new engines, to work from home. Working from home is great because you can wake up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and get some work done. When you're working at an office, you can't go to work 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. You got to wait till they open before you can even get in. But when you have access from your computer, you're liable to get even more work done. And like he said, there are some things they wanted to do that they could not do simply because of time, as well as a lot of other things. Now that has been solved because with the new technology and all the downtime that they had plenty ideas, plenty opportunities to brainstorm, come up with new ideas, and be able to present us things to take Mortal Kombat to the next level. So I wanted to bring this stuff to your attention. As I mentioned, we're not done because we're just getting heated up before we get into the Super Mortal Kombat 12 discussion of the creation suites. Let's continue this, shall we?
Hey guys, Angry Joe, and I'm here with Ed Boon, the creator of Mortal Kombat for Mortal Kombat 11. This is a pretty huge event. You guys are at this reveal event, announcing an awesome trailer.
Yeah.
What's it like doing this kind of big event for MK?
It's overwhelming. You know, when we did the stage thing, like the energy that came out of that crowd, I was not, that literally threw me off guard. I was kind of like, had to kind of recalibrate and like, okay, what are we here for? It was
They kept
it was
standing
crazy.
up, I was like, sit down, I can't see.
Yeah, they were idling at a 10, and then everyone, when a big thing would happen, they go to a 12, and then they go back to a 10. It was really crazy.
So brand new Mortal Kombat really, really soon. I'm happy to see it. What kind of new mechanics are we seeing? How is Mortal Kombat 10 evolving in Mortal Kombat 11?
Well, you know, we always want to switch things up. Every single game we do, we don't want anybody to say, oh, that's just a prettier version of the last game.
Which brings me back to my original point. They have this crypt system, they have these coins, and there's so much to do in the crypt, not to mention co-op that's coming to crypt mode, and not to mention that being able to play crypt mode with other friends and being able to fight people online and earn points and things of that nature will allow you to buy different parts such as beast, bionic arms, elder guard arms, fingerless, karate, those type of things. You will be able to spend your money on those. So as mentioned, they want to always introduce new mechanics to make it better than the last game. And this is what I'm counting on them to do. And I know for a fact Ed is going to get it done. He's the top dog at the company for a reason. He is the driving force behind Mortal Kombat. He literally is. If I had freaking $60 million, I would literally buy Netherrealm Studios from Warner Brothers and give it directly to Ed Boon and let him run the company the way that he see fit, so that way he would be able to design the game the way that he want, because I'm pretty sure we will have a further and better Mortal Kombat. It's always easier to work when you don't have somebody breathing down the back of your neck. But I put this here on your screen just to put you in the thought process of what it would be like to create your own character in 2023/2022 when this game is announced and come out by 2023, I should say. So what else can they do to take this next level, you ask? Well, there is something else that they can do. They have multiple things that they can bring back to satisfy and to appease the community, especially because online gameplay is so common. Back in the day, it was not common. Playing with other people by the time Armageddon was out, that was not common at all. A lot of people did not have internet compared to the people that do have internet today. I'm just gonna say that straight up. So let's move forward with the documentary. It's only just getting started. Let's go.
Now, another thing you guys do really, really well is the additional stuff. In addition to the fighting, in addition to the challenge, in addition to all this other, meta game, you have like a crypt or these different modes. Are we seeing cart combat and something coming back, or a crypt of some kind?
There is going to be a crypt, and it's our best one. You know,
really?
I wish we can get a little bit more probably.
Now, as Angry Joe said, will we be getting cart combat? Now, this would be the perfect time for them to bring back Mortal Kombat, which I strongly believe that they will bring that back. They're giving us something because, again, they have the time, they have the space, they have a reason to bring it back, to separate the PS4 version from the PS5 version. Imagine getting the new Mortal Kombat game on PS4, but they got exclusive features to PS5, such as kart combat, or if they use kart combat as like a pre-order thing for people to get access to it for 2 months before it comes out to the general public, etc., etc. So much that can be done there. So this is why I always say Mortal Kombat have such a large lore story and so many things that they can come out with and different ideas that they can do. They haven't even scratched the surface on Mortal Kombat, and it's been 30 years. So this is extremely great because this game will be around a lot longer. Let's continue, shall we?
I'm noticing a little bit of influence from the sort of modular gear system that we saw in Injustice. It is so cool that I can like pick and choose the different pieces I want. Put that. So it's almost like I'm creating a character. That's one of the other modes I really like, just create a character. So you get a little bit of that light stuff. Will that affect their stats or not? How does it work? Is it like Injustice?
It's not like Injustice in the sense of, you have a whole new head and you're changing their entire parts of the body. There's 3 parts of every fighter. Like Scorpion is his mask, his sword, and his spear tip. Those things, players love the skins, like old version of Scorpion or,
UMK3.
Hellfire. Yeah, exactly. And that didn't work in Injustice. We couldn't do skins like that because the gear pieces would interfere with it. So we just have those gear pieces that swap, but they work for all the costumes. So
it's a mixture of the two systems.
Exactly. So it's a mixture of the two systems. The amount of costumes we're going to have in this game is way more. So there's going to be way more variety, and so a ton of stuff like that. And the gear, the visual of the gear doesn't come with a gameplay component. The player puts the gameplay components in it because we don't want people thinking like, I can get this gear piece and it does this. It looks cool, but I don't like what it does. So it's a lot more, player customization is the big part.
Now I noticed when I was switching between, I saw Boone's Mane, and I saw little funny names like Sub-Zero AF, stuff like that. Is that? How does that work? Is that actually your main? Is that something you created and you put on the internet and we can then use it?
In Mortal Kombat X, we had 3 versions of like every character, and they had names, Hellfire, Scorpion, or something like that. And so when we put something like Boone's Mane, that was basically our way of saying, this was created by a person. It isn't the default one that's in the game, because the game is going to come with like 3 default versions. That's going to be used for tournaments and all that stuff, where it's kind of level playing field, balanced, and all that stuff like that. But then when you create yours, you can call it, Angry Joe Scorpion or Boone's Mane or something like that.
Yeah,
exactly. And so you can give it a name, but that's your version, and that's why we called some of them those.
And can other people then create those or download those, or you just tell them your builds and then they build it and that kind of stuff?
We're not going to have a thing where you can like share it. That would be a cool feature. Mortal Kombat 12.
Boom. Just like that. Like he said, it would be a cool feature for Mortal Kombat 12, right? So I wanted to put this on your screen for those of you who don't understand how it will work. So WWE has this thing called community creations where you actually can do some pretty cool stuff. You can make your own wrestler, upload them, and other people can download them. So if you do this right here where you go to community creations, and then you go to downloads, you can download other people's stuff and upload other people's stuff. Now you're probably wondering, why the hell are you talking about WWE in a Mortal Kombat documentary? Well, this is what it will, community creations spelt with 2 Ks, would look like for you to be able to upload your fighter and for other people to download it. It would bring tons of more players to the game, and also it would create so much content. And not only will it create so much content, it will allow you to do things like put your own face in the game with Image Manager, which would be dope. Now, this is what it looks like here, where you will be able to download every Mortal Kombat character, even the ones that are not in the game. You can kind of download them, make your own builds of them, create your own ninjas and your own fighters, and they can kind of be in the game, basically. Like, just imagine downloading Kane on Mortal Kombat. It would be the fans' ultimate dream and the best-selling Mortal Kombat game in history is what it would be. So by Ed Boon saying that would be a cool feature for Mortal Kombat 12, I definitely believe that Ed pays attention to what the fans always say, he always delivers. And now that we're doing next gen, all of this stuff is possible for them to create a community creation suite. Now they already built the creator combatant thing for Armageddon. It would be nothing for them to port it over and to change a lot of things about the system, but still have it operate under the same rules. We have technology now where there's balancing in video games. They have the thing where you only can use a certain amount of moves because they're too powerful within your move list. Everything has pros and cons to it, and it has stipulations. Imagine buying brutalities from the store. So I just know Mortal Kombat 12 is going to be a game changer. That's what it's going to be. And if you don't believe that, I don't know what to tell you. I just know we're going into the next generation. You heard Ed Boon say for itself, it would be a cool feature. So just showing you stuff here, just giving you an idea of what the menu would look like if Mortal Kombat were to get one. Just imagine uploading your fighter and waking up the next morning knowing 50,000 people downloaded your fighter, and you see somebody using your fighter at a tournament. That would be super awesome. That would just be super awesome. Now I know a lot of you will probably say it would dilute DLC. I don't think it will, not one bit, in the sense, because those things will be exclusive to those DLC characters. And like I said, Ed Boon is a genius. He knows exactly what he's doing. Let's continue with this documentary because we are just only getting started. Let's go.
Tag team. Last time I talked to you, I was like, I really like tag team, and you're like, nobody played. The percentage was low. Is tag team making a return, or?
Well, nobody played it. The percentage was low. So
just because it's low, Ed, doesn't mean it could blow up again.
Yeah,
you know
exactly. It's a cool thing. It's with every Mortal Kombat game, it's just kind of like we only have so much time, so many people. At some point, we got to say, let's do this, and let's drop that, and let's do this, and like that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well,
now, when it comes to tag team, I want you to know that they have been testing tag team to see what the numbers are going to be. What I mean by that is they have the ability to see which feature is played the most. Why you think you're able to view your stat cards when playing Mortal Kombat? When you're playing it, they show you your stat card of your most played character, your most played modes, things of that nature. They have access to all of that information on the back end because why? Data is important on your customers. That tells them which features to keep in the game, which features they need to improve on, and which features you're more than likely to use instead of making a new game without. You don't want to make a new game and put a feature in that nobody's going to play. That's risky as hell. But when you know you can build upon something, that right there is what makes them decide how they're going to move different. Now, my point for that is this. When it comes to the whole, how do you call it? When it comes to the whole being able to change your character in Mortal Kombat, that was nothing but them preconditioning you to get used to creating your own character or customization. That's the whole point of them doing that. Also, they did this same thing with Injustice. When they came out with Injustice with the whole creation suite, they got a lot of feedback from fans and found out that fans did not like that certain moves made you powerful, some made you weak, some items looked super cool, but it was not worth wearing, and some items looked trash, but they were powerful and they had to wear them. Those are the things that they were looking to avoid, and they managed to collect that data, so now they can apply it to their baby, which is their franchise #1 head honcho game, Mortal Kombat. So they're conditioning people to get ready for this creation suite. Imagine, as I said before, being able to go and buy some items for your character from the store using the time crystals, or however you want to call it, however you want to look at it. You can be somewhere playing in conquest mode, aka the crypt, and you can find a nice pair of striker boots somewhere under a bridge in a chest that you can wear, and somebody online can go, hey, where'd you get those boots from? You could say, hey, I found them in Outworld when I was on this mission. It just randomly appeared, just for you to only to find out that those boots are extremely rare, and that person just happened to get lucky to find those boots to be in that area at the right time. They are finally taking the game to the next level, including the story. The 30 years of torture and terror is finally over. We don't have to worry about retelling the same stories anymore. I was getting sick of it, and I think a lot of people were getting sick of that too, which we're going to get into what the fans actually think of this game too. So you want to stay tuned around for that also. Now, with them collecting all of this data when it comes to tag team, do I see tag team coming back? Yes, I do see tag team coming back at some point. I mean, they did include tag team within the towers to see how many people actually played the towers together as a team, as a, you know, as a team that worked together. And by them doing that, them numbers are going to determine if it's going to come back in the next game, because it's nothing for them to make tag team a full-on official thing for Combat League mode, where you can play up to 4 people and you and your friend can just go and battle the whole world together, where you're both in the same session and you get tagged in and they just kind of move you both from one room to another. I think it's possible for them to do that, especially on next gen technology. So they have endless opportunities on what they can do to make this game one of the greatest games of all time, which they will do, because Mortal Kombat 12 will most certainly be topping everything that's out there in the fighting game community. And this is why we don't mind waiting a little bit longer for this game to come out, or for this game to be announced. As I said, you can come back and watch this video after this documentary after it's announced, when I tell you that it will be announced and it will be coming out. You'll see it sometime in 2023. Let's continue with the rest of the documentary.
But I was getting a little bit worried of the microtransactions. Now,
Yeah.
you guys did a great job in MKX. Initially, I got confused at first, but I thought the system was well done.
Yeah.
Am I going to have to get angry? Is there going to be microtransactions,
No.
mobile game type of stuff?
Yeah, I guess, and I don't know if what was it, Injustice or
Yeah, I think it
MKX
was
that you got
Injustice
it, you got it
too.
wrong.
I
and
got
you had
it
to
wrong.
Fix it, and you had to
Yeah,
fix
and
it.
I had to fix
I was
it.
pissed off for like a week about
I'm
it.
so sorry.
No, just kidding.
So as you can see here, when it comes to Ed Boon, he's doing everything that he can to protect the players, because he really does care about the players and not destroying something that he built. Mind you, MK is something that him and John Tobias built. This is their baby. So of course he wants to protect the reputation of it. Now these companies, they need numbers and they have to push numbers, so they force people to put microtransactions in the game. Now, Ed Boon has done a good job of avoiding bad microtransactions, but he still needs to complete the task of putting microtransactions in the game. And bringing back Create a Fighter is the only way to justify microtransactions, by allowing people to purchase things they want for their characters, but still being able to earn those things when they're out in the crypt mode, conquest mode, whatever you want to call it. I think that's 300% absolutely fair. He's going to do what needs to be done with for the company, but he's going to do it in a realistic manner. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering, well, what is the bad way to use microtransactions? Is there a bad way? The answer is yes, there is a bad way to use microtransactions. And I'm getting ready to put something on your screen that's going to show you exactly what bad microtransactions are, which is something the community was worried about, but Ed ensured us it would not happen. So I'm going to let this wonderful guy right here explain to you what microtransactions are, how they work.
Oh, hello, adventurer.
Yeah, there can be seen, man.
Hey guys, thank you for watching that. Now I want to talk to you about Twitter, okay? Now hear me out. We've got like 200,000 subscribers on YouTube. We've got like 300,000 subscribers on Facebook. Do you know how many subscribers we've got on Twitter? Basically none. Can you do something about it, please? The Twitter link down there. I feel like I'm talking to no one.
I ain't gonna lie, that was pretty hilarious. Be sure to follow Viva La Dirt. They link will be in the description below. Shouts out to them for making that amazing video. All the information will be under credit, so go support them guys. Subscribe to their channel, check out what they got going on. Now, I just wanted to show you what bad microtransactions are and how the gaming industry is pushing that on people, and Ed Boon is basically protecting us from that. A lot of people really feared this about the crystals, where it got so large to the point where they said you would need to spend X amount of money in order to complete the game, which turned out to be false. It basically was just people jumping the gun and just trying to make it into something that it's not, you know. But as you saw in this interview with Angry Joe, shouts out to him also, credit goes to him also. With Ed Boon, he's very genuine about what he does for the community and things that he provide, and I don't think he would ever give us a half-baked ass finished game. I mean, he did give us Mortal Kombat 11, but it was a well put together game. Could have been better, but I know 12, they'll be able to capitalize on all of the things that they missed out on when it came to Mortal Kombat 11, the pandemic, and a lot of other things that happened. But let's go ahead and move on to the next part of this documentary.
The angry.
We can't get into like the specific details of it, but you won't be angry at it.
Okay.
I can tell you that.
Okay.
You know, as
All
far as that.
So
yeah.
real quick, there's some questions that we got. Are we gonna see Johnny Cage?
I can't
Some
reveal
different
characters, man. Yeah, I don't blame you for asking, but we got a whole cadence of reveals. And stuff like
Okay,
that
obviously
going
I
like
can't
that.
ask about characters like Spawn. People want to see Spawn.
Do they?
Yeah.
As I mentioned before, Ed Boon listens to the community. As you heard, people want to, see Spawn. He go, do they? Interesting. And guess who turns up in the game? Spawn. He turns up in the game as DLC. Yes, people have been wanting Spawn for years, but he finally made that happen. Better late than never. This is the reason why I said I feel like Ed Boon is going to be the person that changed fighting game history. He's done it once. He's going to do it again. We are finally about to give this man and his team their flowers, their accolades while they're alive. This man is a living legend. I'm telling you that right from the brink. Now, when it comes to other IPs, there are other ones coming down the pipeline, such as Marvel and Marvel's fighting game, and then you also got Injustice 3, and this man is just doing incredible things. But I'm gonna tell you this, that's a part of his plan. He's using these other games to test out features. When those other games get budgets and should it work, he brings it over to the Mortal Kombat series. Like I said, they tested out the gear feature with Injustice and brought it directly over to Mortal Kombat because it was quite interesting for people to have it. So why not have it in Mortal Kombat? Now, I'm going to tell you this. In Mortal Kombat X, they had the variation system, right? Well, they had variations, which they wanted in MK9. They just couldn't get it in there. It had variations in Mortal Kombat X. And then they brought that over to Mortal Kombat 11. And they expanded on it where you can change the name of it. You can kind of move things around. You got custom variations. So what do you think they're going to do in Mortal Kombat 12? They're going to enhance on that variation system. And they're going to enhance on that customization system is what's going to happen. That's just fantastic. Imagine being able to select from 6 to 7 different voices like how you were able to in Saints Row or like other fighting games, and then being able to select your intros. They have people at the studio, random people such as Ed himself and a few other people just randomly do some voiceovers that make no sense to interact with the characters to put them in the game, or just create some motions for them to appear without audio. I would rather them put voice actors in the game such as themselves, like do I know you? Nope, never heard of you. Well, you're going down. That type of stuff, just like generic back and forth stuff for creative fighters. That would be great. Or some type of history with the fighters, like how we had Shujinko. If we were to play with Shujinko versus any of the fighters, they will have history. So if they have a mode where it's like you're going through conquest mode, you meet all these people, you use your created character, they automatically recognize the main characters and have some type of dialogue or interaction with them. So it's so much that can be done with this game here, and I'm truly excited for what's to come, especially with this whole Mortal Kombat 12 thing, the hype that's surrounding it. Let's go ahead and get back to the documentary.
Well, what did the new generation of consoles let you do in terms of all of its graphical power to innovate in the game?
It certainly allowed us to make a more realistic interpretation of things. You know, it allowed us to make more elaborate fatalities, allowed us to make, you know, all the cool X-ray moves you see inside. You see the bones breaking, and a lot more sophisticated presentation of the game. But at the same time, we wanted to have some of the people's favorite features and show them in a more, you know, higher resolution presentation.
Now, if you smart enough, you would know that what he was saying. Shout out to Mitchell Salzman also. Let me go ahead and finish what I was going to say. If you were smart enough to know what he's talking about, he has no problem bringing back old features, but those old features has to hit way harder than they did the first time, so it doesn't look like a re-failure, if that makes sense. Now, the point of putting this on the screen here is to show you the loading times with these games and the amount of detail that they're able to make something happen without having to worry about overheating the game or having to use technological things to hide things. Like when you go through certain parts of the game, you don't know it, but it's loaded in the background. Look at this here. This is Bloodborne, which is an extremely large game, and they were able to get this game to load within like 12 seconds alone by itself, and this is a massive game. So when it comes to Mortal Kombat, imagine how much stuff they can stuff in the game, you know, and for us to be able to play it, because when it's extremely large, it usually takes a long time to load. This Spider-Man game is massive. It only took them 5 seconds to load that game on PS5 compared to PS4 Pro. So when they do put Mortal Kombat on next gen, they will be able to do way more than they are to do with things with the PS4, or I should just say last gen in general, because it would make the game a lot slower, and nobody wants a game that takes forever to load. So if you can get it to load in like 11 seconds or 5 seconds, I think a lot of people would rather have that. And for those of you that'll be like, I have no problem waiting, well, the company has standards that they has to meet as far as having a game that's playable within a certain amount of time. Now that we got that clear, let's go ahead and move on to the next thing I want to point out to you in this documentary.
Well, you're notorious for posting tidbits of information on social media, right? So, and the last one you posted was feet of a few characters. You wanna add anything to that? Maybe another hint?
No. No, that's it. Yeah, that's. I think that's part of the fun. You know, Mortal Kombat is kind of known for mysteries. You know, the very first game had Reptile in it. We didn't tell people about it. It became a rumor, and then it just, you know, there's always rumors associated with Mortal Kombat, and I think that I like to do that as well. So we never flat out tell somebody, but we always tease them, and I think as frustrating as it is for players, I think they still love it at the same time.
Yeah, well, it is pretty fun. As a player that follows it, I think it's pretty fun trying to find it.
You heard for himself. He loved teasing things. They'll never flat out tell somebody what they won't get. Now, as you can see, this is my Twitter account here. Shameless plug, go follow me on Twitter. So, at the Wave Report. Alright, so I tweeted this. I responded to one of Ed Boon's tweets. And his original post was this. Walked around LA Comic Con with the real Cybot this week, and we ran into a fan. This is me, Michael Myers from Mortal Kombat 12, it will be killer. And he gave a response. I said his moveset would be killer. This is what he said. Killer. I see what you did there. So I'm going to click on this here for you and give you a better look at it. He loves to tease. He loves to tease. And you can see everybody else chiming in. So again, I'll show you this. Let me click on the original post so you can see it go down. And also the same thing with Ghostface Killer. He replied to this also when Darian tweeted this. This ain't a bad idea. Also, the thing he said, you guys do be looking good. So, with that being said, he's known for interacting with the community, being involved with the community, and keeping us hyped for what's to come next. So, I would agree. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's a marketing genius as well as a lot of other things. Let's continue, shall we?
we're going to change everything with this new Mortal Kombat. We're changing everything from the presentation, the fighting mechanic, and obviously the story with adding the DC characters to it. So we really feel that this time, with the new generation of hardware, the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, that it's time to change everything about Mortal Kombat, kind of like we did with Deadly Alliance in 2002. The tone of the game is definitely going to be Mortal Kombat. It's still going to be an intense, brutal, kind of a high energy experience, and I think that people will realize when they're playing this game, wow, this is still, it feels like, like a Mortal Kombat game.
You heard it for yourself right out of Ed Boon's mouth. It was definitely a time for a change when that next hardware came out, and they did some incredible things with Mortal Kombat versus DC. Now that we're going onto the next gen, the same thing is getting ready to happen again. Like he said, they did the same thing with Deadly Alliance, which changed the landscape of Mortal Kombat, especially for what it was back when they did Mortal Kombat 4, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Deadly Alliance completely set the tone and took it to the next level, and that's the reason why Mortal Kombat is what we know it is to be today. And we only can expect the same thing with this next generation of hardware. Ed Boon has always been a needle pusher, always been the person that would take and go to the next level beyond what his job requires to deliver what needs to be delivered to the fans. And that is why I know for a fact we're going to be able to get everything that we love going forward. We'll be able to get every ounce of what we want from Mortal Kombat, and there's some things I'm sure that's going to be in there that none of us expected, we never saw coming, and some things that we did highly anticipate. NRS is known for fueling the leaks, they're known for fueling the rumors, and the majority of this stuff is done on purpose to cause conversation within the community. It's the oldest trick in the book. If people are not talking about you, you're not relevant. Keep people talking and you will become the most relevant person ever. Let's continue.
Free fall combat, where if you throw somebody off a building, instead of just watching them fall and hit the ground and fighting, you fight while you're falling. So as you're falling, you're throwing punches and you're countering and doing all this stuff. So the action's completely different from the previous Mortal Kombat games, and that to me is what's the most exciting. Mortal Kombat has always been a one-on-one fighting game, so it's not like there's a whole bunch of players fighting at the same time. It's a one-on-one fighting game, but the fact that you have unlimited opponents online is opens the doors for endless possibilities. Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe is going to be on the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, and it's coming out in the fall of 2008.
What I want you to focus your attention on this time is endless possibilities, is what he said. Mind you, he's done a great job of transitioning Mortal Kombat into the fighting game community, and that's what's going to lead us over to our next segments about esports. He is huge on esports, and he is looking to make Mortal Kombat a household name when it comes to the esports community. As you can see, Mortal Kombat 11 has appeared at several tournaments. It's won a couple awards. Now, when it came to Mortal Kombat 9, yes, it did appear at some things, but a lot of people did not take that serious. So them turning into a more serious toned game is what allowed them to progress forward. So esports is definitely another thing that's going to be targeted by Mortal Kombat 12, of being prepared, especially with the mechanics, so that way it's evenly played on both sides and that it's a fairly balanced game, because we know 11 definitely had its issues. So let's go ahead and get into esports.
So how about esports? Do you play a role in that? Do you go to the tournaments? Are you getting more and more into it?
Absolutely. I've gone to many tournaments with our games featured, and it's there's an energy at a live tournament that is you have to experience. It's great to see it streamed and telecast, but there's an energy in a room or stadium when people are playing that you really need to go to, and so I go whenever I can.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very busy, but as much live participation in esports as I can is always just drives us to make that next game and have that much stronger.
Yeah, motivates you, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Is Mortal Kombat going to get more and more the game itself into esports? Is there a plan for that?
Every game that we do, we think more and more about esports and the competitive aspect of it, organized competition and people just getting good at the game. So that's an absolute check mark in terms of our must-have features in the game is a heavy support for esports.
Now, esports is another thing that's going to be used to keep the game alive. It's what keeps people competitive, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you probably are not familiar with esports if you're a casual Mortal Kombat fan. If you're a hardcore fan, then you know exactly what esports is. So with that being said, Ed Boon knows to make the necessary tweaks so that way it can keep the game popular, keep the game played year round, to where they don't even have to worry about doing too much promotion, because that's what the fans are going to be doing. Now, for those of you are, like I said, that are not familiar, I'm about to go ahead and give you the top 5 moments in, I should say, esports history when it comes to fighting games. So go ahead and check out these 5 moments. Don't worry, I'm gonna be getting y'all up out of here real soon, but we just gonna finish up the rest of this documentary. Check out this clip right here and I'll be right back with you.
I'm Tyler Lansdowne, Community Manager at Netherrealm Studios, and here's our top 5 moments from Combo Breaker 2019. Number 5. Panda Global's Hayate makes a hard read with a fatal blow, resulting in an amazing scramble with pixels remaining for both players.
There was a punish at the back 2-2-2 as the puddle is down. That was so smart. That's not a cancel you see coming normally off that 2-1-2-1-2. But now we're at kill territory. We gotta watch out for that fatal blow! And you knew it was coming!
It wasn't enough! It wasn't enough to stop him! He was down to a pixel! The armor saved him!
Oh my goodness!
That's not it! That's not it! What's he gonna do? Teleport?
Not enough! Oh no!
That's
oh my
two!
God! Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
He put it all on the line!
He just did it! He just did it, ladies and gentlemen!
Number 4. A huge comeback over Nutty by Galloping Ghost Jeremiah.
Oh, backing up, probably anticipating the wake up of Jeremiah, not giving it to him.
Jeremiah can make this happen here.
Oh, especially now! Oh, this is gonna hurt. Has fatal blow on deck here. Is it gonna be enough? These fatal blows do scale, but they don't scale that much.
I think that is not quite enough. We need another decision here from Jeremiah. He's got to get back in. He tries. Nutty wants to just put up the zone. Wiggles it. Oh no, it's punishable. He went in too hard. In fact, last breath.
Number 3. Echo Fox's Sonic Fox reverse 3-0 Samij with a surprise Scarlet pick.
But Sonic Fox, once he has had that fatal blow, he's become such a terror. When will he bring it out? Look at Samij just trying to block. Oh, out of there!
What? Are you kidding me?
The siphon! What?
Into the throw! Sonic Fox is gonna take it! Reverse 3-0 over Samij! Are you kidding me?
Number 2. Waz hits an incredible fatal blow with 1 second left on the clock to take a round off of Big D.
Turns on the purple stuff. What's it gonna be? Regular throw in the throw tech.
Oh my God! He catches the active frames of the shimmy, and there it is, just like that! He needed exactly that much time to fatal blow.
Number 1. Scar defeats Sonic Fox to become the 2019 Mortal Kombat Combo Breaker Champion.
50-50 from death right now!
If he finds the right combo, and Sonic Fox knows it, so Sonic Fox now is playing a little slower of a game. He dashed forward! Oh, he got the grab. Scar so close, so close. Sonic Fox got too heavy, and it's Scar! Scar takes it! Combo Breaker 2019, Mortal Kombat 11 champion!
That's all for now. Make sure you follow at NRS Esports on Twitter for up-to-date info on the Mortal Kombat Pro competition.
Now, I also want to remind you that playing these esports comes with tournament prizes up to $500,000. This is something that happened with MKX, and I know it's probably hard for a lot of you to believe that you can make money off playing video games. That's why I'm about to go ahead and put this next clip up here on your screen, and we got one more segment and we'll go ahead and get you on up out of here. Let's check out this MKX segment.
Let's get this party started.
Mortal Kombat X ESL Pro League continues in 2016, expanding to include a new Challenger Cup. Join the best combatants from around the world. The stakes have never been higher. Mortal Kombat X. Register now on proleague.com/MKX.
Rated M for mature.
Yeah, that escalated very quickly. So if you play video games or play Mortal Kombat, I highly recommend that you check out some of them online tournaments. Now let's get back to the focus of this documentary. We're going to go into next of talking about balancing, because I know you guys are worried if they do a creative fighter that balancing will be an issue. I want you to know they're fully aware of how to handle that situation. I'll let Ed tell it.
Weight of doing that falls on the designers.
And with the characters themselves, with those sort of movesets, how's that impacted them balancing? Because like you said, now you've got triple for each character, and however many there may be, it must be a bit of a headache.
That's exactly right. We obviously the game's not done, but we are anticipating that it is going to be a huge task to balance the game out. Because now you have 3 versions of Scorpion going up against 3 versions of Kano, and so A of Scorpion might be a good matchup for B of Kano, but C might be a bad matchup for A of Kano, and so all those combinations and permutations of mixing up characters is going to be tough to balance. But it's also going to be, I feel, the strongest thing that's going to separate Mortal Kombat from all the other fighters. It's something that no other fighting game is doing, and it's going to add that much depth and variety in the gameplay.
Now, to add depth and variety into the gameplay, it definitely would require communication with the fans. And I want you guys to know that is not Ed Boon's fault. I do also want to say that the community is talking. The community wants NRS to pay attention, to listen. But again, it's not up to him as to when he can respond and how he can respond. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put up some fan feedback on the screen, as well as play 2, 3, or a couple of videos and let you guys go ahead on home. After this, you can go on about your business. But I do want to say Ed Boon has a strong point of separating his game from other games. He's always looking to be different instead of being a knockoff, a repeat, or anything of that nature. He was provided a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and he's treating it well so he can maintain that. Because mind you, Mortal Kombat is the complete opposite of Street Fighter. It was actually created and got the green light because of Street Fighter. Now let's take a look at what these fans got to say. So I'm gonna pop this up here on your screen. Now shout out to the Thinny. He said, what are your Netherrealm wishes for 2022? People said for leaks to be true. Basically, somebody even made their own roster. I'm gonna leave it up here just long enough for you to read it, just in case you want to read it. Of course, Quan Chi, Cetrion, Cassie Cage, Takeda, Jackie Briggs, Kung Jin, Raiden, Sindel, Devore, Reptile, Scarlet, Trimmer, Jade. They got the whole thing there. They even got 3 combat packs over there. If you guys just want to take time to read that, you can pause it. So my point for this is that the community is going crazy as far as supporting a game that has not even been announced yet, especially after what happened with the Video Game Awards. They were extremely disappointed, but at the end of the day, NRS promised them nothing. And I gotta say, that's a really good roster. Excuse me. That's a really good roster and a really good DLC pack. And as you can see here, people continue to talk. They put their wish list. Some want Tanya, some want different versions of Mortal Kombat, like a Dance Dance Revolution, which would have been great. What they say, a game where they actually put the skins. They was talking about, Mortal Kombat 11, then put in that Scorpion skin that we never got, but we ended up getting gear pieces. Also, they mentioned how the MK Mobile actually gave them what they promised. So people don't like being promised and stuff and not getting it. Now the MK Just Dance game would probably be fun for some people, you know, or just put the original song on a dance game, those things. So people are just basically looking for a variety of different things to keep them entertained. And like this person said, there's a lot you can do by releasing information. I know I tweeted Tyler Lansdowne. He never got back to me when I asked him a question of what are some things that happened with MK12 since the cycle is over. Can you talk about it? And no, he did not respond to that at all. You can see some people want a Marvel game, a Shaolin Monks remake, but people definitely want Takeda to be in the next game and think he should have been in 11 because he was a great character. So I'm just putting this all here so you can read it, praying that the MK12 leaks are true, as you see here, and that why MK11 got no love, they hope the next game get love. And somebody wanted all of the Edenians. So basically just this here, people are telling you what they want, and this is why Twitter is so important, because Ed Boon can easily in the middle of the night just go to Twitter and do research to see what it is the fans want, so they can deliver and make sure that they have everything that they need to have. Now, a Mortal Kombat themed cookbook would be really good, I'm not gonna lie, just like they did with Deadly Alliance when they had cooking with Scorpion and everything. Now, they want this person gone. They want better work environment, communication, and the replacement of this guy right here who works at NRS. People are just over him. They want John Tobias involved and some type of Anniversary HD remake for those games, and they want Uppercuts edition of the Condopendium to be approved, basically, I should say. Got a little tongue tied right there. Now, it's just amazing seeing the fans come together like this and give their thoughts on what it is that they want. That just shows you how much of a loyal fan base that people have for this game, and that's just an amazing thing to see. So that's something that I wanted to point out to you there. And I also got 2 fan videos we're gonna go over. I'm gonna pay some bills and then get y'all on up out of here.
Hello, Wave Report. It is me, Devin Powell. Thank you for making me part of your documentary, and thank you so much. I will be answering questions, so here's my questions I'm going to be answering for you. How do I feel about the NRS communication? Well, it's gone a little bit quiet. It's not always that good. It depends on if WB is keeping them quiet, of course. We don't know that for sure, but I'm thinking on the side of my head, I'm like this. I'm thinking that maybe we're going to get communication when the 30th anniversary comes out, and I'm hoping that is the case, because I think that's when the game could come out. It makes sense. But when MK11 was around, the communication was so bad. It was so shit. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't mean to curse. I don't mean any of that, but I'm going to be honest. I'm like this. But yeah, I'm like that, because it's just like we had to wait in the dark with a candle, so it's just like that. What did I like? Do I like Shaolin Monks? I, of course, like Shaolin Monks. The co-op is great, especially with the second player, of course. And I think it was a very good approach with the 2-player accountability in a way you can play with your friend. Even on back on the PlayStation 2 era, where I'm kind of from. So I think that's pretty good. What I don't like in Shaolin Monks, we need more characters. More characters. Like Hotaru, Havoc, a lot of other characters that would be good in Shaolin Monks, or a sequel. Like, you can have Havoc and Hotaru, both Order and Chaos. I'm sorry, don't ignore the middle finger, obviously. What I'm saying is you can have both of them coincide with each other, battling and killing them, beating the shit out of every enemy. Fatality them, that'd be great with their abilities and stuff. So I think more characters would honestly be great, or some that are not playable would be honestly good. How many characters do I want back in MK12? Serena, Taven, Ashra, Li Mei, Striker, Quan Chi, Onaga, Shao Kahn, Kai, Havoc. Did I say Havoc or Hotaru already? No, it's Havoc Hotaru, Daegon as well. Other characters like Blaze, and maybe some of the other characters that were in the previous games, like Ferritor, Kunjin, Takeda, and then that characters Boraicho, and also characters that we didn't see like Reiko and all that. Those kind of characters I do want to see come back. Mechanic for MK12. That's a very smart question. Is the fastness of MKX and the fast movement. That was honestly a great part about MKX because it was such good, because had characters like, for example, Raiden had good combos. It made him so good, made him so overpowered, and I like that. You could probably do the same thing with MK11, but doesn't work out that much.
Thank you for making me a part of this wonderful documentary. Who would I like to see back in MK12? Well, if I had to pick at least like 6 characters, it would be Liu Kang, Sonya, Sindel, Kitana, Jade, Chameleon, Havoc, and Serena, even though I picked a lot, but still. I think they should all make a return.
Thank you. I definitely appreciate you guys being a part of the documentary. I wanted to feature more people, but I'm cutting it close here on time. I got other projects to get back to. However, the fan demand for Mortal Kombat 12 is so through the roof, to the point that super fans are making their own combat pack trailers. I want you to check out this. I'm going to slap this here on your screen. I recommend that you go check out this channel called The Island Boys, where he made his own Combat Pack 3 trailer, and it was extremely good. So go check out his channel. Link should be in the description. And if it's not in the description, more than likely I forgot, but you can easily Google his YouTube his channel by typing in The Island Boys Mortal Kombat, and it should pop up what you're looking for. So I got one last thing. We're going to go ahead and let Ed wrap this up. We're going to bring the first question from the video full circle to let him answer it one more time as to why Mortal Kombat has survived all these years. It's because of the fans, the type of stuff that you just saw, that I showed you from Twitter, the stuff that I showed you from people just being so creative well within what they do. That is what made Mortal Kombat the franchise that it is by people being communicative, and should NRS decides to do that in return, it will be a lifelong, loving, and lasting relationship. Here's Ed one more time.
Personally, for you, what do you think about Mortal Kombat that makes it such an enduring fighting series, and why it still exists today?
I think it's a combination of a number of things. I think for the older players, it's a lot of it is nostalgia, what they remember, from when they were younger, and then seeing, much more contemporary, much more sophisticated presentation of their childhood memories. I think there's a lot of it with that. With the younger players, I think a lot of it is, these characters are represented in a story. No other fighting games represents their characters in such an elaborate, cinematic, movie-like presentation. And so I think they've just really grown attached to these characters just because the story is so deep for them. And then, of course, there's the gameplay. Once you get past all of the fatalities and the pretty graphics and all that stuff, you have a lot of fun playing the game, and everybody can sit down and have a good time with it.
Thank you very much indeed for taking the time to talk.
Thanks a lot.
Finish him! Get over here!
Hey, what's up, guys? I truly appreciate you watching this long documentary, and I just want to say, if you truly enjoyed yourself watching this and you learned a lot, do me a favor and smash that subscribe button and turn on post notifications, as this is your brand new favorite and daily place for Mortal Kombat exclusive content and Mortal Kombat in general. So my name is The Way Report. I have been your host, And until next time, I will see you wonderful people later. Be sure to check out the other documentaries that will present themselves at the end of this video, such as the Onaga Returns documentary, Leak Roster, and a couple of other good ones also. Thanks for watching.